date ugly men. I mean, gorgeous women dating short, fat men. I mean, why? Why do they do it? Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have that discussion in just a moment. My name is Marvin Kane, and I am your humble guide on this journey as we talk all things relationship on Love is Not Judgmental. So we want to thank you for backing us again for another day. And the topic is very intriguing, and it's something we see often. And we see it in the reverse. Sometimes you see a beautiful man with a fat, oversized woman. Some people consider that unattractive, but some people consider that to be attractive. I mean, what is it? What is it that attracts us to each other? So, our discussion, particularly today, as we will venture out into other avenues, is why would a beautiful woman date a short, fat guy? I mean, why would she do it, right? And as you've clicked on this video, no doubt you know that when it comes to relationships, there is so much more than what meets the eye. But before we get started, we just want to say, listen, we thank you for coming here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share this video with others. We look to do our best to not only entertain you, but to inform you. So, all right, so let's break down this juicy subject into 10 parts. Now, exactly what will we be covering? Well, first, let's talk about defying the stereotypes. There's a lot of stereotypes, especially when it comes to any relationship. But, we always lean in the direction of age gap relationships on this channel. But when it comes to a beautiful woman dating an ugly man, in some logic, it doesn't make sense. So you have to really define what is beauty. See, beauty in the eyes of one person is different from that of another. I mean, I'm 55. I am very attracted to women my age. I'm attracted to 50-year-old women. It's something about the wrinkles. The size of a woman never matters to me. Like, I see beauty in a larger frame woman, and I see beauty in a skinny woman. Actually, less beauty, really. A really toothpick like woman. No, but what I'm saying is personal preference. A fat, overweight woman, I can see her beauty. But then beyond that physical thing, it's the connections that can be formed because women do the same thing all the time. Women are very mature. And personally, I believe women are more mature than men. Not just because they reach maturity faster, but it's because once they get there, they pretty much stay there. They have a different level of reasoning that men sometimes we just don't have. And so when it comes to things like looks, I think women know what's on the other side of looks. A really gorgeous man who doesn't have much of a personality is just a gorgeous man. But it goes both ways. A really beautiful woman that doesn't have much of a personality, she's just a beautiful woman. Or she's just gorgeous because beauty is the representation of what you are on the outside as well as who you are on the inside. So things like intelligence, humor, these attractive qualities, being kind, women get absorbed in these things. I mean, there's a list of things that attract women. There's a list of things that attract men, these qualities. But beautiful women often see an ugly man as unique. I literally, like many of you have heard, a beautiful woman says, I'm just attracted to ugly men. What does that mean? I mean, people say this, and that's because she sees the other side. She's looking for something deeper within. And she may have dated a really good looking guy in the past who may have done her some harm. Maybe he didn't treat her the way she wanted to be treated. And maybe she has a prejudice, or maybe she feels like, why should I compete? And I've heard women say this a lot. Like, women are always looked upon to be adorned with beauty, men with physical power. So when a woman sees a man that's trying to match her, I mean, nowadays men are getting their eyebrows done, they're getting their eyelashes, and I mean, it's just, they're getting their skin tinted, they're waxing, they're doing a lot of things that traditionally have been done by women. And some women just don't want to compete with the man. When she goes out, she wants to be the star of the show. Some women just like to be out there like that. And the man, he's just supporting cast. But when he becomes the equal in that regard, she's uncomfortable. So in that regard, as I've spoken to many, they lean towards the ugly man, not just because she's ugly, because she sees attractiveness in that. Maybe his eyes are too close. Maybe they're too far apart. Maybe his nose is too large. Maybe it's too small and narrow. She finds beauty in him because when he is kind to her, it's almost like she compensates what he lacks with how good of a character he has shown her to be. So, those powerful emotional levels of intelligence, we call that compatibility. It's a defining feature when it comes to choosing a partner, right? Things like shared values. I mean, if you can't, I mean, it's nice to be around beautiful people, but eventually it's not so exciting all the time. I can remember when I came here to Puerto Rico, and when I was with my wife, I always thought she was just the most beautiful woman on the planet. I really did. Character. But when things declined, as beautiful as she was, and as we would always be out because we did business together and we would meet new people, people always, wow, she's just strikingly beautiful. I would hear this all the time. I'd be like, yeah. But for me, because the personality shift and the bad habits that came about as a result of what she was doing secretly in the relationship, I stopped seeing her as that beauty. I really, really did. And so it's kind of like when I came here to Puerto Rico, like I was saying about 10 years ago, I was just overwhelmed with how beautiful the people are, the men, the women. Everybody's just beautiful because it's different. And sometimes people move in different communities just because it's different. But in our case, I saw that it was just amazing. And I think I have on my screen, well, maybe it's doing it right. We'll find out later. I have a billboard up and it says live, but I'm wondering why this thing hasn't changed. So I don't know if that's a fault. If it is, we're going to wind up doing this live all over again. So we see it here. Sorry, folks. I'm just trying to make sure we have a good adjustment. All right, we will do this live continuously, and if we have to redo it, we will redo it. All right, but now listen, this is my point. I was overwhelmed with how attractive people were, but that went on for about like maybe 10 months. After 10 months, everybody just looked the same. And I'm not forming relationships with anyone. I was just amazed at how beautiful people was. See, beauty only lasts but a short period of time. Once you get to know people, I can remember when I was in school. I'm just going to say her first name, Barbara. Barbara was not an attractive woman, or I should say teenager, because we were teenagers. But I was so attracted to her because Barbara sat next to me in one of my classes. I don't remember which one. Maybe I do. I just won't say it. There were several Barbaras. But this particular Barbara, just not attractive. People laughed at her. They made fun of her all the time. But I thought she was just beautiful. Now, face wise, not. But to me, her face was beautiful because her face was a representation of who she was. It represented her character. Her character was very, very amazing. I don't know where she is this day, but I just remember that was one of the very beautiful women that I had met as I was growing up. And physically, most people would look at her and be like, that's a zero. I mean, they wouldn't even give her a two, they would give her a straight zero. But she was a super beautiful woman. She had character, she had style, she had charisma, she had a lot of things going. And of course, I never developed a relationship with her because I was a teenager. Where I came from, how I grew up, we just didn't do things like that. And I've never thought about Barbara again until this very moment. That's for the record. All right. Other things that are attractive to women that would make them date older men is self-confidence. And that actually has to be the number one reason through interviews that I've done why women date older men as in age gap relationships and why women will date a man that everyone else will say is ugly because it's confidence. Nobody wants to be around a person that's constantly depressed and saying depressing things, who are constantly tearing down the joys of life in their sorrows, who are constantly saying things like, I'm here, I'm still here. Nobody wants to be around a person like that, especially romantically. You want to be around a person that's got confidence. Hey, baby, you look good today. See, they can say that to you with confidence because that's what they feel about themselves. Wow, I look good in this color. Wow, this is nice. Okay, see, she's attracted to that confidence, and not just in the appearance, but his confidence in his mindset and his ability to go out and to do things. She is attracted to this. And it's pretty seriously amazing. And so the relationship goes and it grows and it does fantastic things. Now, emotional connections support confidence. When a woman can connect with a man on the level of emotion, she knows she's got someone that's being honest with her. A lot of men hold in their feelings. A lot of men hide who they are. What's incredibly important to a woman is that she knows who her partner is. She knows what this man is about, where he's going, his desires for the future. So the importance of understanding this emotional support when it comes to relationships, this is how the bonds just get deeper. And she wants that deeper connection. She wants to know what he feels, what he's thinking, not just grunts. How you today? No, she needs more than that. She needs some substance. Sometimes men, I don't know why, but some men don't like to hear their women speak. Some men have this thing. Women shouldn't be heard unless they're spoken to. That's the most ridiculous. I cannot believe in 2023 that people still, some people, it's a smaller group now, but it's still out there. You know, women are powerful vessels. And when you keep her shined and happy and you're taking care of her well, she's great for you. And if you have children, she's fantastic for the whole family. You just have to keep her lit, right? Because she's amazing. And that's your secret power. And she's also your secret weapon. But then sometimes men, when a woman just starts to talk about a day, you finish. I mean, really, like they rushing it. Let me tell you, we know you love her, but if she were gone, you're going to miss that conversation. You're going to miss that voice. So you got to learn how to have gratitude, men, with the voices of the women that are a part of your life now. She's powerful. She's all powerful. She's just all amazing. And that's what makes her beautiful to you. And when you can listen to her and respect her feelings and her views, guess what? You become beautiful to her. Sharing your vulnerabilities, opening up, letting her know what bothers you. See, all of this heightens and deepens the emotional bond that you're seeking to have. Because once you get into a person that deep, you're really partners. Before that actually occurs, you haven't got to the other side of the romance. See, on the other side of the romance, when you dig deep like that, wow. See, those are the joys that don't have words to describe the experience. See, if you got words that you can use to describe the experience, then you haven't hit the height of it. You want to be in relationships or a relationship, because we only want to do one, right? You want to be in a relationship where you have reached the height because you know the depths below of a person and they know you. You got to get to know each other like that, where you're the beginning and the end of that person and they're the beginning and end of you. Otherwise, there's going to be a danger of objectification. And that's very shallow. See, just looking at a person's appearance, I'm telling you, it gets old. I mean, try it. Look, if you've never dated someone less pretty than you, guys or women, if you never dated someone less pretty than you, women, try it. You might be surprised how deep you fall. And people are going to say, I remember I was dating a woman. This is many decades ago. And she broke my heart. I had my heart broken by an ugly woman. And none of my friends seemed to understand how much I loved this woman. I wanted a future with her. I wanted an entire life with her. This is the beauty of being 55. You got stories for everything. But the point is, I loved her because who she showed me who she was. But her parents hated me, especially her father. Because when I met her, I was young. I was very young. And I hadn't figured out what it was that I wanted to do. I knew one thing I was not going to do that a lot of people 30 something years ago were interested in. I knew I wasn't going to college. To me, I just didn't see the benefit. I just figured, you know what? I've invested 12 years in high school and regular education and public education. It has to be good for something. And for me, it was. Eventually, I started a successful mortgage company and an insurance company. I did quite well. But prior to that, I was trying to figure it out. So I would work at shoe stores. I would work in a mall. I worked at a clothing store. That was my college. That was my university and my mindset, because there I was able to pick up some things in business and strategies that I still utilize to this very day in my companies. But her parents didn't see that as a successful venture. And so they encouraged her to break up with me. And it was hard. It took me 3 years to get over this woman. And when I finally got over her, I was so free. And now I could see me. And I decided one day I'm going to get a mortgage license, but I needed to go to school first. And at that time, you didn't have to have a license. I wanted one. I wanted to be certified because I was thinking big. You know what? I'm going to start here as a broker for this company, and then I'm going to go and become my own broker, and I'm going to hire people, of which I did hire about 45 people along the way. And we did well. And I can remember seeing her 20 years later, married and still actually married, but beautiful. Like now people would look at her, and she kind of grew in to this beautiful physical image that she had. But at that point, I didn't see that beauty like that. I was like, hey, how are you? And that's all she gave me back. And she wanted to talk. She stood around. And I said, well, look, it was great seeing you, and you have a nice day. And I just walked away. And I remember about 2 weeks ago, she kind of like, and she's married, right? She kind of sought me out. And I saw her coming, and it was almost like my eyes like pushed her away from me. See, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I had moved on, not holding a grudge. I'm not hurt anymore. I'm grown. I'm over all of that stuff, right? But that's just the past. But I just didn't see the value in being there. Plus, she's got her life and I've got my life. And I'm also married at this particular time. So a woman's not going to get my attention when I'm married. That's just not going to happen. But that shallowness that comes from the physical appearance, objectification, it can hinder a real connection. It slows you down. If all you see is the physical, it kind of puts up a wall that blocks you from seeing the mental and the emotional and the depth of the connection. So work on the communication, work on expressing who you are. Talk. Let your partner know the depth of you. Communication is the backbone to any relationship. Be an active listener. Don't be a listener like this. She's talking and you're looking in another direction. Be an active listener. Participate. Be like, you know what? I really appreciate that. Appreciate that. Even if it's a thought, and we're not talking about patronizing somebody, but even if it's a thought you already know, it came to you from her as a reminder. So embrace the reminder and thank her for the conversation, because you need to go deep. You need to understand how to communicate in advance, because guess what's always going to happen in relationships? Conflicts. Conflicts. Now, there's a transformative power of love and support when it comes to age gap relationships. How partners evolve is a beautiful thing to watch. You get to see their growth, but guess what? They also get to see your growth. It's amazing as you stay an individual. So the beauty of a person deepens. It kind of like starts on the outside and it just goes deep down into who they are and the depth of a person. And when you face challenges with a partner that sees the other side of you, the challenges just become very minuscule. They're not large at all. They're very small. But that's the abundance of joy. That's the most amazing thing that you're going to have here today. So society wants to judge you and say that, this is unconventional, a beautiful woman with an ugly man, or even vice versa, an ugly man or a beautiful man with an ugly woman, right? Society's going to judge you just like they judge age gap relationships, just like they'll judge an older woman with a younger man. Society has its opinion, but you know what? That's why we call it society. And we call the other thing family, because society is outside the family. Families make society. So you can form enough families together to make a better society, or you can just let society stay outside of your household and you just dwell and do what's good and beneficial for you. So the importance of surrounding yourself with people who are your friends, your true friends. See, that's going to help you to do better. These allies. Now, there is a myth when it comes to perfection. Men always tell women, "Oh, you're perfect," and they mean it when they say it. Perfect because he's so blinded by the beauty of who this woman is. And I mean inner. When I say beauty, it's inner and outer, right? She's not just gorgeous. He's not blinded by her being gorgeous. He's blinded by her beauty that he just can't see other women. But at the same time, he must realize that she's not perfect because nobody is. So you don't want to idolize your partner. You don't want to worship them because that becomes unrealistic. And when they do make a mistake, it's going to hit you hard. See, when you put people too high on a pedestal, it's got to be a balance there. And they mess up. Some people have rules like this. If my husband ever cheats, I'm divorcing him. You know what? There's a story behind every situation. And some men say, if my wife ever cheats, that hoe, I'm divorcing her. They got to give her a bad name because men, even though they don't like to claim to be emotional, tend to be quite emotional. But people say things like this. They make these rules, right? And you just have to understand nobody's flawless. And you never know how you're going to respond in a situation until you're actually in the situation. So, beauty, though unconventional in some cases, goes beyond being skin deep, right? Beauty transcends into the depth of who a person is. Now, age gap relationships, societal norms, they challenge all that. The strength and resilience that it takes to be in a relationship where people's eyeballs are constantly on you is when you make your partner important to you in all phases of life. But again, there's a balance because let me give you this illustration, right? Let's say your partner was in a pool of water. Now, neither one of you can swim, but your partner found themselves in a pool and they're struggling for their life. Would you jump in and try to save their life? You can't swim, they can't swim. No, no, that's not a sacrifice. That's just stupid. What would be better is for you to very quickly, as fast as you can, with all your might, run and find someone who can swim to help your partner. Because it doesn't make sense for both of you to die, especially if you have kids. But even if you have kids, it doesn't. And plus, you want to save them, not add more horror to the situation. So getting help is a necessity, is a necessary feature of life. So when it comes to relationships, the same is true. It's always true. You've got to keep your partner where your partner belongs. You need to protect them, but you also got to put yourself first so you have something overwhelming about yourself in a good way that it just spills out of you. Like you need to have so much love for yourself that love just comes out of you and then it attaches itself to your partner. You need to have so much loyalty to yourself, so much dignity that you won't go out and cheat, that you can actually vibe that to your partner. See, that's what we're talking about. So, listen, in conclusion, everybody, listen, lady, we've uncovered the secrets as to why beautiful women will date ugly men. Some people consider bald ugly. Hey, whatever, right? It's a personal preference, and everybody has the right to have one. But it's all about finding love beyond the appearances. Appearances are great, but defying stereotypes, breaking them in half, showing them that they're not as real, and embracing the deeper and the unobvious aspects of love, age gap love, love of an ugly person that society says is ugly. They're beautiful to you, and that's exactly what matters to them. It's how you feel. So your relationship is about you and them. That's it. It's about you and them. And of course, our creator is a part of that because he initiated relationships and romance, right? He put the first marriage together. So don't forget to join us tomorrow. We've enjoyed this discussion today. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, we're going to have another discussion about relationship anxieties. We were supposed to do that today, but we had to do, we wanted to fine tune it just a little bit, but we're going to do it tomorrow. And we're going to give you an eye-opening discussion about relationship anxiety. Now, let's boost our visibility because we're asking that if you have not already, we want you to subscribe to our channel, to like, to share, and to hit the notification bell. This has been fantastic. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being on this journey, letting me be your guide. We look forward to you being with us again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Like we said, we'll be talking about relationship anxiety. My name is Marvin Kane. I am your host, and this is Love is Not Judgmental. And as always, remember this.